I am Delia Valles from New Mexico State University, and I am with the NSF HSI STEM Resource Hub. I co-host this webinar series along with Dr. Martha Desmond. I would like to welcome you to our third webinar of our spring webinar series, targeting grantmanship and preparing for the NSF HSI call due in September. Today's topic is about community college challenges. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. This webinar will last 1 hour and a half. And today's webinar, we have 3 speakers. The webinar will have 3 parts. First part will consist of a 10-minute presentation from each one of the speakers. The second part will consist of a series of questions that the host will directly ask the panelists, and the last part will consist of answering questions from the audience. All questions related to today's topic must be submitted via Q&A box. However, if you have technical questions, please submit those technical questions like problems with Zoom or other technical questions. Please submit it through the chat box. So we have two different boxes for this webinar, the Q&A and the chat box. We have Nicolas Mendez dedicated to monitor the technical questions and also postings in Twitter and Instagram. So please, you are more than welcome to Twitter or you do Instagram. There is also a NMSU team consisting of Dr. Martha Desmond and Dr. Margie Vela, our program manager, and myself, curating questions for the last part of the webinar. We might not have enough time to answer all of the questions, but we will address what we can in the time allotted, and we'll post the answers to all of the questions online in our portal. Webinars are also recorded, and all of the recordings will be posted on the portal. All materials and recordings will be available to the members of the HSI STEM Professional Network. Please join the network. And also, we will have all of the postings and materials in the network. There's no membership fee for this, for becoming a member. And Nicolas Mendez will actually post the link to the portal on the chatting room. For those of you who are already members, please complete your profile. It is extremely important that you do that. At the end of this presentation, you should also receive an email with a very short survey monkey from Dr. Christine Velez. Please take a few minutes to complete it. I know some of you already have done this before. However, we really need your feedback and data to be reported to NSF to measure our program outcomes. As an added incentive, when you complete the survey, your name will be entered in a drawing for a $15 Amazon gift card. The winner will receive this gift card electronically within 2 weeks. The winner of the last drawing, which is, it was on April the 9th survey, was actually Miss Tafita Elliott from New Mexico Tech. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our speakers this afternoon. We have Dr. Nora Garza. Thank you, Dr. Garza, for joining us this afternoon. She is the Vice President for Resource Development and External Affairs at Laredo College. She received a PhD in Educational Administration and Community College Leadership from the University of Texas at Austin. Dr. Garza has successfully co-written and managed 6 Title V grants, and also a collaborative and individual grants during the past 20 years. She has written and managed 4 USDA NIFA grants in the past 15 years. She has co-written and managed 2 U.S. Department of Education Title III STEM articulation grants. She has spearheaded and administered HSI grants for Laredo College individually and has forged partnerships with numerous colleges and universities in support of Hispanic student success. Her expertise in the grant implementation and reporting process, specifically in Title V, Title III, and other STEM grants, has been invaluable to Laredo College. She has devoted over 20 years to teaching Hispanic students from first grade to college level. Her specific content expertise at the undergraduate and master level is education, sociology, certified bilingual teacher, and a professional reading specialist and educational supervisor. We also have in this panel Dr. Mary Aldrich, and she is currently the director of the Workforce Development and Career Readiness at Doña Ana Community College. She received her PhD in adult and higher education from Montana State University. Dr. Aldrich has been working in workforce development and training, community college administration and instruction, and program design for over 20 years in New Mexico, Mozambique, and Montana. Her research interests include poverty alleviation, work-based experiential learning, integrative support services, and low-income students in higher education. Our third panelist, Dr. Jorge Iniges, earned a PhD in biology sciences from UC Irvine, an undergraduate degree in cell and molecular biology from California State University, Northridge. He has served as an instructor at Northridge and also at Pasadena City College. Dr. Iñiguez is improving student success by providing research opportunities at Pasadena City College. His peer-reviewed publications facilitated a partnership with Northridge that brought the NIH Build Power program to the biology department at Pasadena City College. He has received over $90,000 in scholarships and fellowships and plans to use his persuasive writing skills to provide additional funding for the project. He has experience working with students from diverse backgrounds and is committed to providing equitable access for all of the students to achieve personal development, critical thinking, information literacy, and literacy competence. I will, to all of the presenters, I will show you this note that is 1 minute left before you finish your presentation to announcing that you have only 1 minute left. And it is my pleasure to welcome you and thank you for joining us this afternoon. So please, Dr. Nora Garza, go ahead with your presentation and we'll look forward to it.
Thank you very much. Will they be putting up my PowerPoint, or I'll put it up on the screen?
Whatever you feel more comfortable, do that. I have it ready in case you want me to do that.
Yes, you can do that. And I only added one thing, and so that's not important. I can swing it.
Okay, great. So let me share it, make sure that I have the rights to share. Do I have the rights to share, Dr.?
There you go. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. So yes, my name is Nora Garza, and I have been, figured it out finally, 44 years at Laredo College. Began as Laredo Junior College in 1947. That was when the college was founded. And as you can see here, this is our entrance to our McIntosh campus, our logo. And of course, if you go to the next slide, the next slide is.
It's not working there. Hold on, let me see what's going on here.
If not, I can put the poll. I can share it as well.
I'm having some technical problems in here. Okay.
All right. So we will be celebrating our 75th anniversary. And as you can see here, we are Laredo strong, Laredo College strong. As I said, we began as a junior college. Then the name changed to community college. We are still a community college, but we are now called Laredo College. Next.
Dr. Garza, I think I'm having a
Let me see if I can post it.
little bit of
Yeah, so
problems.
why don't you
Yes,
un-
let me
unshare?
stop sharing. Mhm.
There you go. Okay, we'll just take it back. Super, there you go. So we are 75 years going strong. And we began by offering traditional core curriculum for transfer to the university. We were the traditional junior college. For most of those years, we were the only game in town, and it started diversifying and it continued. And of course, today, we not only have the core curriculum to transfer to the university, we have a new BSN, which is why the move was to go to the name college, Laredo College. We have the #1 associate degree nursing program. We have the #1 college in Texas. We offer the traditional core, and then we also offer technical degrees, the AAS, continuing ed, adult basic. It sounds familiar to everybody here. For the Southern Association reaffirmation that we had right before COVID hit, we passed with flying colors, 0 recommendations. We have distance education, strategic plan. So we're ready to take it to the next level. Enrollments, of course, like with everybody, enrollments are down due to COVID. And you can see here where it says we are back. We offer in-person, hybrid, online, Maymester, wintermester, summermester. I guess you can see right here that we are trying to be and are expected to be many things to many people. As the Vice President for Resource Development, of course, and I didn't mention previously, when the college started, it was created by the Texas legislature, and it was funded primarily by the state with local taxation. It was part of a school district. In that time, we went from about 50% of our funding coming from the state to where now we have only about 18 to 19% of our funding comes from the state. The rest comes from the local community. And you can see here that we're in South Texas, Webb County. It's one of the larger counties in the state, not including the ones in West Texas, which of course are very big counties, but very lightly populated. We are financed by technically the city of Laredo. Webb County does not pay taxes to our district, so therefore we are limited in that thing. I wanted to share with you the college and graduate enrollment by race and ethnicity information that comes from our state and from the U.S. Census. If you'll notice the blue line, which is the second one at the top, as time has progressed from 2008 to 2017, you'll note that the number of Hispanics who attend college and graduate is almost on par, of course, not by numbers, but almost on par with non-Hispanic whites. But what people do not understand is that prior to the 2008, there were no other universities or colleges in our area. And after the Maldiff lawsuits and that creation of Texas A&M International in Laredo, UTRGV, Kingsville became A&M Kingsville, the creation of UT San Antonio, the creation of A&M San Antonio. All of those have contributed to the access to education for Hispanics. If you look at the next one though, however, in our minds, and never do we forget, if you look at the economic status of Hispanics and low-income students, notice that as they begin as 8th graders, 100%, then it goes down to graduating from high school, less opportunity for the low-income student to graduate, then to enroll in higher ed, and then subsequently to graduate. So the impact of finances is very important, which of course limits, the institution's ability to charge more and very many other things. So you can get where I'm going with this one. So how do we achieve the dream of graduation for our students? By the way, the young lady there graduated. Her name is Mariela Aguilera, and she is now a nutritionist in the hospital. And she started here. How can we do our best for our students who are 97% Hispanic and are about 70% economically disadvantaged, and in a community that is 95% Hispanic, we're right on the border with Mexico, has a poverty rate of 30% or more, and still have the highest quality possible for our students with the limited resources we have? So external funding is a good source, but what sources do we have to be able to secure those funds? Great sources of funding, but the college lacks expertise in writing grants, in the credentials. We are, after all, a community college, and the time from teaching duties to address opportunities. Notice you have NSF, USDA, Department of Labor, MISIP, FIPSI, etc. But keep in mind that federal funding for academics is only 2% of the entire federal budget. So we work with our faculty to be able to write grants and so on and so forth. So one of the things and one of the efforts I'll talk on later is our consortium. So if we have a little time, Dr. Rosales, I can leave these for later.
Yes, absolutely. We can certainly do that.
Okay, so I think my 10 minutes are up, right?
Yeah, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And we will certainly go back to your some questions that we will ask you about your trajectory in a little bit.
Thank you.
Next presenter, thank you. Our next presenter is Dr. Mary Aldrich, and she will actually do another presentation related to the challenges at Doña Ana Community College. Bye, thank you.
Okay, great. Let me just take 1 minute to share my screen. Okay, so does everyone see my PowerPoint now with mountains?
We see it.
Excellent, thank you. All right, one moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present today. As Dr. Valles said, I work at Doña Ana Community College in Las Cruces, and I work in the Department of Workforce Development and Career Readiness. So today I'm focusing on challenges in that area. One of the challenges that we heard at Laredo College as well, faces our college as well, and it's the decreasing enrollment. And at the same time, there's increasing pressure for people to upskill and reskill to reduce poverty and improve the regional workforce. So there's a conundrum here that we're working with. Let me go forward. So workforce development is central to our mission at DACC, as it is at many community colleges, yet the declining enrollment in training programs really complicates our mission. As you can see in this slide, the enrollment in the credit-bearing certificate programs and the associate degrees is down almost 20% this year. For our non-credit training, our participation's been cut almost in half. We are seeing a little bit of renewed interest right now, but we're still struggling to reach our low-wage, under-resourced workforce with training services. In Doña Ana County, poverty is the overarching issue in southern New Mexico as well. And poverty really impedes our citizens on several fronts. One, low educational attainment. They have limited access to work and income support resources, as well as kind of overall hampering economic development efforts to attract higher paying jobs and new employers to the area. So the need, though, is as great as ever, with unemployment at about 8% as of March. While there has been some recovery, most of our job losses in Doña Ana County have been in the low wage service sectors. So today I'd like to speak about 3 challenges that we face in workforce development in our region. And it's the challenge of access, the challenge of understanding training, and the challenge of opportunity. The last slide, I have some steps we're trying to take to build a more equitable workforce ecosystem. So in a community survey that we conducted last year, only about 23% of those surveyed stated they needed job training, which was a really surprising statistic. Of those needing services, almost half said they had difficulty getting them, however, and a full third expressed they did not know where to get job training, even though in the question itself, it stated at the community college or at the university nearby. However, this does really correspond with the national data that we're seeing from the Strata Gallup consumer survey that was conducted throughout 2020, where they found that only 1 in 3 disrupted low-income workers say they have access to the education and training they want. Our survey respondents also indicated that affordability was an issue. There was a comment written in, and it said, the only way to afford training is to get into debt. And likewise, the Strata Gallup survey also found that 2/3 of the people they surveyed who were interested in training did not have a good understanding of how to pay for it. So there's 2 more things that I thought were really important to talk about. And one is the negative experiences with education really presents a barrier for adult learners, especially those who have a history of stopping out. Self-doubt is another huge challenge when trying to pursue education and training. And the Strata Gallup survey also found that just under half the people surveyed stated that the main reason they won't enroll in training is the lack of career benefit, which is again, it's just a baffling kind of finding from that survey. Okay. And so our community survey also revealed that most community members do not understand what job training services were. So in our current workforce climate, we all need to continue training for work, especially learning all the new technologies and all of this information to do our jobs and remote working and all of that. But 75% of our respondents said they didn't need job training. So again, it's kind of a disconnect. We find that people don't really understand what is it we mean by training or skills. In general, I think too, they experience challenges in understanding what kind of training they may need. How would they upskill themselves? Like what specifically do they need to think about? We do know too that adult learners are most interested in shorter certification programs and specific job training, but they know least about these kinds of alternatives. Finally, I think the persistent economic insecurity and structural racism are also really related to a lack of opportunity in the workforce. We continuously focus on skilling up low-wage and dislocated workers, but that ignores those social dynamics in the hiring process, as well as potentially a lack of professional networks and advantages that people have who are more well-resourced. In addition, untreated trauma leads to poor mental and physical health, as well as cognitive function that creates issues with educational attainment and employment. And then finally, the COVID-19 pandemic has really shown a spotlight on how severe the digital divide is. When our classes went online in March, our DACC students were in both certificate programs and adult education courses, really struggled to complete their coursework using their phones, in their cars, in parking lots, to access internet. And so we find that digital inclusion is a really important element. And I'm trying to go to the next slide. There we go. All right, so on this slide, I did present some of the components that we feel we need to build a more equitable workforce ecosystem. I've included trauma-informed practices to enhance the resiliency and self-efficacy of our training participants, and as well as using an asset-based or strength-based framework to value what the students bring with them to our training. We also are scaling up an integrated support services model. It includes mentoring and coaching and case management. And in career development, we're focusing on activities to include expanding and leveraging the participants' social networks and their social capital. Likewise, we're trying to emphasize with several initiatives the lifelong learning that we all need to really continue our career development paths. And then lastly, I included here a crucial step is to really engage our employers to support equitable hiring practices. Livable wages is very important, and to invest in new talent. All right. So that's the end, my contact information, and I'm sure we'll have time for questions later. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ulrich. Our next presenter is Dr. Jorge Iniges. Please go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Oh.
Great, we see it.
See it? All right, good. Thank you. All right. Oh, thank you for inviting me today. My name is Jorge Iniges. I'm an instructor at Pasadena Community College. I'm also part of the HSI STEM Hub key personnel. And so this is why I included my disclaimer right here. And today I'll be talking about hurdles facing community colleges today. So recent figures show that students are turning to community colleges right out of high school and well into adulthood. I mean, who wouldn't? You can see based on this figure that you save quite a bit of money just by going to community college as opposed to going to a university. Well, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at, despite all this data, we'll go ahead and look at the biggest issues facing community colleges today. So community colleges have seen the sharpest drop among all colleges and high school graduates enrolling this fall. This is a likely effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is according to the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center. This fall, as the pandemic raged, a lot of students decided not to enroll. There was a 30% drop in enrollment from fall 2019 to fall 2020, as opposed to less than 1% from fall 2018 to fall 2019. That is a staggering figure. And this you can see at community colleges here in California as well. So I teach at Pasadena City College, and it's one of the 116 institutions here in California. And the California Community College is the largest college system in the nation. It enrolls about 2 million full and part-time students. And they also suffered a decline in enrollment. There was a 16.8 drop in enrollment, according to the California Community College Chancellor's Office. So you can see even colleges here in California were affected by the pandemic. So many students chose not to enroll in the fall because they couldn't take classes online or didn't like doing so, along with other family and financial reasons as well. So I'll go ahead and expand on those reasons why students probably didn't enroll at community colleges or any other institution. I mean, the good news is historically, more students are enrolling at community college. However, the bad news is that despite the lofty goals by community colleges, many students, especially those students coming from underrepresented groups, won't complete college. So you can see the persistence numbers are really low, especially those from the Latinx and those African-American students. So some of the possible reasons that students don't persist in college is that they aren't college ready. American higher education has a dropout problem. 1 in 3 students who enroll in college never earn a degree. That is a huge amount. So, however, colleges with similar student body have different graduation rates. What this suggests is that the problem isn't with the students, it's with the colleges themselves. So college matters so much because it isn't just about learning a book or development of tangible skills. It's one of the first obstacles of adult life. So you can see here that students have competing obligations, not just worrying about school. One of the other key factors that affect students at community college, the persistence numbers, is diversity. A major issue facing community college students is diversity. Diversity is really the future of teaching and learning. While faculty diversity has improved over the last 2 decades, the system's faculty do not reflect the racial and ethnic makeup of the student body. Nearly 60% of community college faculty statewide are white. That's here in California, while 71% of the students are from other racial and ethnic backgrounds, including Latino, African Americans, Asian, and Native Americans. Another big factor is students are being weeded out of STEM. Studies have found that nearly 40% of students planning engineering and science majors end up switching to other subjects or failing to get any degree. This is twice the combined attrition rate of all other majors. In fact, one of the reasons why a disproportionate share of men drop out of college is because of the misguided belief that they can succeed in fields for which they were ill-prepared in high school. Persistence and perseverance may be ethical virtues, but these can be counterproductive if the end result is to instill a sense of failure. So a lot of students suffer from the imposter syndrome. So at many campuses, the single best predictor of whether a student will drop out or transfer is whether they are closed out of their top choice major. Another challenge facing community college students today is the ability to keep up with emerging technologies as fast as they become the next trend. According to education, online education has become a popular way for many college students to complete their education. But not all community colleges have the necessary technology to allow students to pursue a degree program remotely. I mean, students are social media savvy by far. I mean, you can see students on Twitter and Facebook. But this has very little correlation with being successful when navigating the online learning experience. And here are different figures as to why students are not successful in the online learning experience. All right, and that's it for my presentation. Sorry, I think I flew through it.
Thank you.